Good evening, everybody. www.utmostoutdoors.com is my website. It should be live now, so you can go check it out. And all of the exact prices for everything I'm going to show you here will be on the website. And when I say everything I'm going to show you here, 2 products, leg packages and my Utmost Explorer. Seemed like a good enough name. Now I'm doing a soft launch. So I think there's going to be like 5 or 6 leg kits available and 2 of these boxes available initially. I just want to make sure that the website even works, that if somebody adds something to their cart, they can, get the product. Obviously, if there's any issues, you can email me at utmostoutdoors@gmail.com and I can sort out anything there. If we're out of stock by the time you get to the website, you can always email me and let me know you're interested. And I'll be getting to work, but rather than go deeper into debt and build, 10 or 20 of these things and not even know if anyone even wants one, this is my first foray, so that's how we're doing it. So what is for sale? Now, these first 2, I'm not initially going to have up on the website, but this is just sort of a piece of aluminum that I had that was a little bit shorter. So I built this as my test box. You can see these legs are built slightly differently, and I just welded this little bung on the top. And then we move up to the next box. I went a little bit longer. Now, I don't think you need from here to here to capture your gold out in the field. You'll probably be fine, but the price of doing it was no different. The mat's going to be a little bit longer, and I was just cutting the bottom off anyways. It's going to be the same price for aluminum, the same price for labor. So in that you can use these as just a power sluice. You just take these little clips here, pop these things off. There you go, a power sluice. You might as well have as long of a box as you can just to maximize your value, because it's not going to cost any more to do it that way. Now, the final iteration of the box, let me just step around here. The main difference is I made the sides very slightly higher. I had an opportunity to take that box out to British Columbia in the snow, and I killed my little bilge pump. I was running it off of an 18-volt tool battery, full tilt boogie, and it just died on me. So I wasn't able to film that. You will see video of this box coming up in the next few videos here as I get a chance to use it. But I did notice when I was out there, these lower sides, because I wasn't just spoon feeding this thing. I was taking a full shovel and just dumping like a third to a half of a shovel right into the top here, which would be in the top here. And having those higher sides just allowed me to dump more in at a time. Water just sort of trickles around. Once it goes through this screen, you've got that perfect flow and everything. You're not worried about losing your fine gold under here, but it just gave me a little bit more space to dump into. Welded this little bung up here. For this, I took the valve off just so you can see how if you're just out in the field running straight like this, I don't think you'd need to modulate with this guy at all. But every single one of these boxes is going to come including this thing so that you can have, that perfect adjustment for when you're running at home. And that's if you're running off a 12-volt battery. If you wanted to, so you can see here, this is the sort of tripod leg design. So this normally goes into those holes and faces down. Whether I lift up on this side or the far side, you'll notice the box isn't twisting at all. So having a tripod, because it's a 6-inch Highbanker like this, it's so stiff, you don't need 4 legs. So I was trying to save you guys a little bit of money by just doing this design, and it works out really nicely. You can just pick the thing up like a picnic basket when you're walking through the woods. And to demonstrate, this thing also helps your hose go in it. This is proper bilge hose, and what you're looking at here is 8 feet. So I'm going to include 8 feet with every Highbanker. Let me know in the comments if you want a little bit more, but I know this will fit into a shipping box. And rather than give you like 6 feet, which is sort of typical of like a washing machine hose or something, This stuff costs me $1 a foot. It's a lot cheaper than most of the other components on this box, and so might as well give you enough to work with. There's your bilge pump. Here's your tool battery if that's what you're running. I would recommend a lithium ion deep cycle 20 amp hour 12 volt battery. 130 bucks off Amazon, shipped to your house. It'll run this thing for like 4 hours. But this is an option. The little orange part is for my rigid batteries, and it's just called a rigid battery adapter, or type in DeWalt battery adapter. And you can buy one of these either on eBay or on Amazon. They're about 20 bucks. This exact model you can find on eBay. It's the ZK-BMG. It's a motor governor, or also known as a pulse width modulator. It's got a little screen. You could wire this up to your bilge pump and set to about 70%. Should not destroy your bilge pump. That should be equivalent to 12 volts if you're running 18 volts. But that's kind of the setup. And I'm going to sell you everything that you need, not including the bilge pump and the battery, because you can use your own tool batteries. You can buy a lithium ion battery. You can, I would just buy this off of Amazon and put it in a box and mark it up and sell it to you guys. And why would I do that? You guys, I'll set the link in the description below for this bilge pump as well as this option right here. Previous video for more detail on those two guys. Anyways, I'm just going to set this camera up, and oh, one more thing. This is a box for legs. So this is 6 inches by 4 inches by 24 inches long. Your legs are all 24-inch long legs, and I'll probably go into more detail about why these things are awesome. But the round leg in a round tube design, when you tighten this bolt up, it sort of sets into a saddle, and so you can't have a super precise hole. Like, you need to have a little bit of spare room so that it can slide up and down. And when you do that with a square leg in a square tube, you're always going to have a little bit of wiggle back and forth. And that wiggle means that you really need to tighten this up a lot in order to get it to work. Whereas with this round design, you don't have to tighten this very much to get it to lock right in, which is super nice. Big, heavy 5/16 bolts here. My previous legs have all used 1/4-inch bolts, and I actually sheared one off in the field once. It sucked. Tell you a little bit more about that story. But basically what happened was I got sick of these tiny little thumb screws that I was using all the time. And so I was using these eye bolts. So you could take a screwdriver or a stick, stick it in the eye bolt and tighten up instead of this nice thumb screw here. And at some point the fatigue set in and it tightened up just fine. And then, you know, you shovel into it, it shakes around. You got to tighten a little bit more because it really sucks when your box starts getting out of level. And somehow when I went to undo everything, I undid it, sheared right off. And so that one leg was just sticking out of my box. So it was really awkward to move around in the boat. I was able to salvage that trip by using my other 3 legs. But, you know, you get one of these sheared off in here, it's really hard to drill out a bolt. And it was kind of just a bummer to have that happen. So especially if you're like, if you've ordered a set of these legs up in Nome, for example, or you've driven out 5-6 hours from home, you don't want a failure point that's as simple as a 1/4-inch bolt. So that's why these are entirely stainless, and this is a good 5/16 bolt. Pricing. So let's just get right to it here. For this box, the one that you see behind me here, including the mats and everything, I really wanted it to be a little bit cheaper, and I'm going to keep working on making that happen. But the whole point of this is something where I can make some profit so that I can get out of my garage and out finding gold. It is a business after all. And I want to make sure that I'm very careful not to get stuck in my garage working for minimum wage just because I wanted to hit my price target. So while I did everything that I could to get this price a little bit lower, it's going to be $480. That price might fluctuate a little bit, but if you go to utmostoutdoors.com, you can check it out and that'll show you the most current. Obviously, if I find a way to do something a lot more efficiently, that price can come down. If materials increase even more, like inflation affects me as well, right? So then that price might creep up a little bit. But $480 seems to be what's going to work. Now that includes the backed miner's moss and expanded metal, which that's what I've used. Like, it's my preferred mat right now. I really like it, and I would stand behind that as probably the best solution for infield use, where you're going to be surging, water's going on and off, big scoops. It deals with that really, really well. And it also happens to hold on to coarse, chunky gold really, really well as well. Every box is going to come with the rough top conveyor belt so that you can use this. You won't grow out of it. Let's say you buy this and then you move up to a full-size Highbanker later on in your, mining career. This can still be your cleanup sluice. So you've got a good power sluice, a cleanup sluice that's going to come with that rough top conveyor belt included. The stuff's not that expensive. So I saw a piece that was 24 inches long by 6 inches wide for about $75 on Amazon. And that's, like, to cut all the little pieces and deal with the shipping of selling just a little piece and all that. But it's not worth $75. It's a lot less. So I can include that in these Highbankers, and I think there's value in doing that. And then, unless everyone in the comments is like, try to squeeze 10 feet in, you're going to get 8 feet of this proper bilge hose, which should give you plenty of setup options by the side of a creek. When you're working in BC, you can't just circulate straight back into the creek. So a lot of guys, you'd have a tub and you just take a couple 5-gallon buckets, fill up your tub, you're back from the water's edge, recirculating around, you're totally fine. But there are situations where you can find a little depression. You can actually just run creek water into your sluice box, just point the sluice away from the creek and make sure that none of that water's flowing back into the waterway, and you're good to go. So 8 feet as opposed to 6 feet makes that a little bit more doable. You start getting into 20 feet of hose, and the stuff's pretty bulky, and your bilge pump might not want to travel that distance and everything. So you're gonna get that. Also, right here, cam locks. Why not? It's just such an elegant solution. I think I'm going to go with the aluminum cam locks. I bought one of these plastic ones just to test the weight, because I don't want to add weight for no reason. It's not like this wouldn't be durable enough. They're similar enough in weight. Might as well go with the aluminum because I think it looks nice. But yeah, so you get the cam lock, you get the hose, the end of your bilge hose here. I just pull this whole unit up here like a picnic basket. The end of your hose here screws right into the inside of this cam lock, and I put a little bit of glue in there, and it's rock solid. I just did a test running the flow rate of these bilge pumps. No water was dripping out. Like, it's not going to drip all over your shop if you're running it inside. Real slick setup. And yeah, comes with legs. These are going to be 16-inch long legs. It just didn't make sense to go with the full size leg with your Highbanker. But for the difference in material, if you send me a note when you order one, if you really want the full length legs for some reason, I can ship it with those. Like, they'll fit in the box. It just, I don't see the point in carrying it around the woods with all that extra. So that's the box. As far as legs are concerned, so this box of legs is going to be $160 Canadian. I should be able to ship those legs anywhere in Alberta or British Columbia for about $30. The website should be able to calculate shipping. I'm learning how this website works. So set of 4 legs, 24 inches long, nice and sturdy. I'll call them medium duty legs, because there's definitely room for like big heavy shafts and really sizing things up, but not for any Highbanker that I would ever want to carry into the woods. So these are as heavy duty as you need. I have tested them. I can stand in a Highbanker, no problem, with my entire body weight, and all of these brackets and everything hold up just fine. Brackets are going to include rivets. So this is a 3/16 rivet, and you basically stick it through. I would recommend, because on the inside of your box you want a nice smooth surface so it doesn't interfere with your carpet or your matting or anything like that, I would recommend you go with rivets. You can buy a rivet gun like this from a Canadian Tire, Home Depot, Princess Auto. The cheap ones are about $25, and then I will include all of the rivets you need and some spares. with your legs package. If you want to go with bolts, I will include zinc bolts. So a bolt, a washer, and a nylon lock nut for an extra $4. And if you want to go with all stainless steel bolts, it's like an extra $14 or $15, but the exact prices will be on the website for that. It's actually really expensive to just buy like all 16 stainless steel bolts for these things. So rivets are cheap. They'll give you the best finished product in my opinion. That's what it'll go with. Somebody did ask, will you ship to the EU? And I have nothing against shipping to the EU, but shipping is expensive. So just as an example, I weighed this box. So this is my shipping box right here. And to ship this box with 4 legs in it to Germany, for example, would be about 80 Canadian dollars, or I think it's like 50 pounds. So if you want to spend $160 on these legs and then an additional $80 on shipping, feel free to email me. I don't think the website's going to be set up for this, but I will ship these places, and I'm looking to learn as anything else. So if you live somewhere that's not supported by the website currently, email me. I'll see what shipping will cost, and some situations it might not actually be that bad. So, or if you and a friend both want a set of legs, I could probably squeeze more into a box, and we'll figure it out. But yeah, that's where we stand. I am looking forward to getting outdoors and finding some gold here next week. I've just been fighting off a horrible cold for the last week, so I've been a little bit under the weather and just hiding in my garage doing the final touches of all of this stuff. But I'm looking forward to getting out and mining some more gold. And if this whole thing works where people are like, yes, I like your legs and I would like to spend $160 on a set of them, then I will 100% be building a whole bunch more of these, and we'll make them available to as many people as possible. As to boxes, hey, tips, tricks, ideas, modifications, things you want to see, by all means, let me know what you think about my price. I don't mean to offend anyone by charging $480. I was aiming lower, but that's what I got to do, right? Like, these are custom built one at a time in my garage. So we'll go with that. If it's the right product for you, I'll straight up tell you, it's not going to be the best product for everyone. It's not that full speed production Highbanker that I would use here in Alberta for just hammering shovels through, but I really did enjoy using it the limited time that I did get to actually use this out in BC. So it's going to serve a purpose out there, and I'm really happy with how it's turned out. So hopefully somebody else thinks that as well. And yeah, from here we just make sure the website actually works and take it step by step along the way. Thank you for listening to my rambling away here, and yeah, we'll see you in the next video. There's going to be little updates on building stuff, but also I'll keep the fun gold mining stuff coming as well as soon as I can get over this cold and get back outside, and then catch another cold because it's cold outside, and I'll be swimming in an icy creek. And anyways, thanks for listening, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.